So, hands up who works in aged care. All right. So there's a few more than what we would normally find at a conference like this. I also want to acknowledge I'm from the Darkinjung lands on the Central Coast. I never quite get that right. And would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the cooler lands today on which we meet, and acknowledge elders past, present and future. Oh my God, do I know how to drive this? Oh. Okay, PACN, just quickly. We pursue opportunities to advocate for the advancement of palliative care within the aged care sector and to inform the wider palliative care specialty of our aged care issues. The role is enhanced through its link as a special interest group of Palliative Care New South Wales, so we're very grateful for the support that they give us. So, whistle-stop tour of aged care in Australia. In 2022-23 financial year, over $28 billion was spent in this country on aged care, with 57% of that going to residential care. The focus for 2024-25 is an additional $2.2 billion, which takes us over $30 billion in funding for aged care across the country. This will include putting the reforms into place and the recommendations from the Royal Commission. However, after a delay, we now know that the new Aged Care Rights-Based Act has been stalled due to pushback from the sector and from consumer groups. The new strengthened standards, which were due to come out on the 1st of July in line with the new Aged Care Rights Act, is now being held over to 1st of July 2025, which gives us a little bit of breathing space, but not a lot. And they continue to work with government's response to the Aged Care Task Force, which has been sitting on the shelf for some time. There's an additional $27 million there. And we continue, however, to have this pushback from the sector and the consumer groups. The majority of operators in the aged care sector are not-for-profit, as you can see there. There are over 3,200 providers that deliver care via 9,300 services across the country. However, we know now that the highest growth is in the for-profit sector. As of June 2023, 2 in 3 women, does that surprise anybody, were accessing aged care services. There's been a 4-fold increase in home care usage over the last 10 years. And if you've been in aged care long enough, you'll know this is a direct result of the Living Longer, Living Better reforms of 2016, when they wanted to pull people out of residential and have more people stay at home. At the moment, 58% of residents in residential care are over the age of 85, and they're coming in with greater complexities and greater comorbidities. And just remember, while all these changes are happening here, we're still expected to meet all the standards and deliver care every single day. And I'd like you to meet Mr. JS, just so you can see some of the complexities. This gentleman was 86, came into care in March 2022. He'd been cared for by his wife at home since 2015 after receiving a diagnosis of Lewy bodies dementia, which out of all the dementias I would have to say is one of the cruelest to have. They'd been together for more than 50 years, married with 3 children. The team in the home had noted significant change in behaviour with increasing falls and referred to the in-house dementia CNC, which we have in our organisation, and the hospital avoidance team. The hospital avoidance team decided to order him some quetiapine to help settle him, which did not help. There's also been a significant change in our length of stay, with the median being less than 2 years or 22 months. And for those who are living with a dementia diagnosis, that's 31 months in care. We have over 2,639 residential homes across Australia, offering 2,333,134 beds. However, the Aged Care Task Force recommendations remain on the shelf. The sector is becoming more uncertain. There are no new builds happening because of this. We don't know what the future is actually going to look like. Some say that the system is being built to fail. So why the push then for better palliative care in RAC? In 2023, there were 182,000 deaths in this country, and of those, 65,000 occurred in residential aged care. So if you think about that, 1/3 of all deaths in this country occur in residential care. And in the first 90 days of admission, there will be over 11,000 deaths. Within the first 12 months, there'll be over 23,000 deaths. And this is in keeping with our after-death audits that are telling us that a third of our residents will die each year in care, and that a third are actually in the end-of-life stage, so the last 12 months of their life, once they come in. So the Royal Commission changes. Gosh, we all heard about that. How could you not? You couldn't turn on the television, you couldn't do anything. And for many of us in the industry, in the sector, and I've been in it for 20 years now, it was a hope that we would get change. But some of these changes have been very blunt, and some of them have had these unintended consequences. In particular, the 24/7 nursing. Most homes already had that. But the issue was, we know that we've got national workforce shortages, and particularly in rural and regional areas. How do they meet those needs and then get whacked by the Commission because they haven't met it? The 200 mandatory care minutes, beautiful to say you deserve 200 minutes of care to help be fed, to help do your wounds, to help do paperwork. I think we can do better than that. And from the 1st of October, that will increase to a whole 215 minutes a day. There were some good things. The establishment of the food and nutrition dining hotline, so you can dial in your complaint if you're not happy with what the home's serving you up for dinner. The star ratings to help older people. It's like Trivago. You go onto a site and you see how many stars each home has, and then you pick based on the stars. The biggest winner probably was our aged care workforce, who got a well-deserved 15% wage increase. There's 250,000 of them in this country, and this finally recognised their value. The expansion of the National Aged Care Mandatory Quality Indicator Program. We now have 6 additional quality indicators that we need to report on government to, including consumer experience and quality of life for older people. The Code of Conduct for Aged Care to help ensure that services are delivered to old people in a safe and competent and respectful manner. And the one I really like the most is actually the Council of Elders, the Care Quality Advisory Body. So every provider has to have a Council of Elders that meet with their board twice a year and give feedback about their service and what they want. Some of the feedback we've been getting is the buses. Can't we do something about the buses? We'd like some glaze on the window so the sun doesn't hit us when we go out. So it's simple things sometimes. ANAC, oh my goodness, ANAC. This was supposed to be our saviour in terms of funding. As you can see, it's become quite difficult to get, particularly the palliative care one. There are 13 classes in the ANAC. The lowest class is a class 2. You get a whopping $46.19 a day to provide care for someone. You can get to a class 13, which will give you a huge $243.10. The ANAC palliative care tool, needs to be signed off by a NP or a GP, but they can't be an employer or contractor. Plan of care from the families. But the sad thing is most GPs and acute hospitals aren't aware of this, and trying to get this is very, very difficult. But they have given us an extra 2 weeks now to fill in the form. And finally, getting back to Mr JS, he was referred to me as the in-house nurse practitioner regarding pain and delirium. I saw him in the lounge room and he was incredibly agitated, being special and trying constantly to get up and then falling. I didn't examine him due to his agitation, but organised a palliative care conference that day with his wife, who was in attendance, and his 3 children online, with the CNC and the RN on the floor, because it was a good teaching opportunity for her. The hospital avoidance team moved him back over to my care. I've already mentioned some of the 24/7 and the care minutes, but those unintended consequences were the ENs were not included in the RN minutes, even though they're included in the legislation as a registered nurse Division 2. Subsequently, they've been replaced by Cert 4 aged care workers, which has led to more de-skilling. On the 1st of October, they will be included in the EN minutes, and we can claim a whole 4 minutes for an EN to deliver care. And our RN minutes will increase to 44 minutes of RN care per resident per day. These reforms have unfortunately made a starter collect for the government, with an increase in 40% in compliance cost across the organisations with no additional funding. There's an exodus from the sector, too many changes, too much compliance, not enough time to spend delivering care, and increasing expectations from families with very limited understanding of how we are funded. And those leaving, from the bottom all the way up, through care workers to experienced CEOs. And Mr JS. This poor darling died within 6 days, and he shifted quickly from delirium into terminal agitation, which is quite common in people with advanced dementia, living with advanced dementia. No time to review, no time for the ANAC external assessors to come and give the palliative care supplement to the home to increase their care funding. His wife was experiencing significant carer stress, and we were able to refer her to our in-house grief counsellor for help and support. We continue to provide the best care we can with the resources that we have, and we look forward to a time when the sector will stabilise and we get our sparkle back. So thank you for the opportunity, and this is what drives us each day in aged care, and I'm sure it drives you as well, and I hope you get your sparkle back at some time soon. Thank you.